Good day, everyone. My name is Sanla Firtwasan, and today we're going to talk about the Philippine literature. First is the themes that will be discussed by Julian Serrano.
And first is the theme. But before we explore the themes in Philippine literature, let's first understand what a theme is. In literature, a theme is a central idea or message that the author wants to convey through their work. It's like the underlying meaning or moral of the story. And now that we understand what a theme is, let's talk about what the themes that are commonly found in Philippine literature. Philippine literature is rich and diverse, influenced by the country's history, culture, and even foreign influences. Despite this diversity, certain themes emerge consistently across different periods of Philippine literature. And according to journalist Nana Jimenez, some of the most common themes in Philippine literature include family, dogmatic love, and persistence. These themes reflect the values and experiences of Filipino society and resonate with readers on a personal level. Additionally, Philippine literature is known for its unique writing style, characterized by short and quick, yet highly interpersonal sentences. The use of commas, conjunctions, and a variation of English known as Filipino English or Taglish are also prominent features. These elements contribute to the distinctiveness of Philippine literature and have made a significant impact on the history of literature as a whole.
And now, let's proceed to the renowned authors and their works. First, we have Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado Guayre Alonzo Realonda. He is a Filipino author, and his other literary works are No Le Metangere and El Filibusterismo. Those are his two famous literary works, and you can pause if you want to read all of his or some of his other literary works. But let's proceed to Carlos Balosan. He is a Filipino-American writer who wrote about the struggles of immigrants. His famous works are The Letter from America, The Voice of Bataan, and If You Want to Know What We Are, that is commonly used for speech choir. Next, we have Luwalhati Bautista. She is an acclaimed Filipino novelist and screenwriter who wrote about the social issues. We have Dekada 70, Bata-Bata Paano Ka Ginawa, Bulaklak sa City Jail, Guwapo, In Sisterhood, Leia and Luwalhati, 60 and the City, and Sonata. Now let's talk about the authors who shaped the landscape of the country's literature.
Authors who shaped the landscape of the country's literature. Jose Rizal, our very own national hero. Jose Rizal was a prolific writer. He authored Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, which are still deeply discussed in academic institutions. His last poem, Mi Ultimo Adios, was written just before his execution. Francisco Baltasar Guerra de la Cruz, known as Francisco Balagtas, was a renowned Filipino poet often likened to William Shakespeare for his influence on Filipino literature, notably for his epic Florante at Laura, born in 1788 in Bulacan, who faced challenges in his early life, including imprisonment due to a romantic rivalry. Despite adversity, he wrote prolifically in Tagalog during a time when most Filipino writing was in Spanish. His imprisonment inspired Florante at Laura, published in 1838. Balagtas served in various roles, married, and had children, but on his deathbed, he discouraged his offspring from pursuing poetry. His legacy includes the popular Filipino debate forum, Balagtasan, and numerous honors and landmarks in the Philippines, including the school, plaza, and park named after him. His great-grandson Richard Balagtas carries on his literary legacy. Luis Francia, a poet, author, and teacher. Luis Francia's Eye of the Fish, a personal archipelago, won the PEN Open Book Award and an Asian American Literary Award. Shonil Jose, a writer who deeply tackled social justice and issues. Sunil Jose created the Rosales Saga, a 5-volume work. He is one of the most widely read Filipino authors and won the Ramon Magsaysay Award for Literature in 1980, and many more authors.
Okay, the part 1, Contemporary Writers of the Country. First page, contemporary Philippines writer are authors who produce literary works in the various genres and the language in the Philippines. Some of the example, contemporary writers in the Philippines are Rin Chopeco, a fantasy and horror novelist who wrote the Bone Witch trilogy and The Girl from the Well series. Barbara Jane Reyes, a poet activist who wrote Invocation to Daughters and Diwata. Luis Bulaong, a freelance writer who wrote The Last of the Magician in the Book of the Dead. And that's it.
Rin Chupeco, a fantasy and horror novelist who wrote the Bone Witch trilogy, The Girl from the Well series. Barbara Jane Reyes, a poet and activist who wrote Invocation to Daughters and Diwata. Luis Bulaong, a freelance writer who wrote The Last of the Magicians and the Book of Dead.
In summary, Philippine literature thrives on diverse themes, shaped by iconic authors throughout history, from Rizal to contemporary writers, and these voices echo the richness of Filipino culture. So, for every viewers, listeners, and learners, thank you for joining us in this literary journey.